eyes of the present and coming generations to where we were before and how we got here as a people and as a nation. I once did a study here in the southwest of Nigeria where some of our young children did not know who Obafemi Awolowo was, even in Ikene. Yet they knew Obafemi Martins. They did not know about S.L. Akintola, Odele Yefadausi, Dauda Adegbero, Kessington Momo, Bode Thomas, Remi Fani Kayode, F.R.A. Williams, and some others who had made significant landmark contributions to the political development of this country. And so, we will say that our youths are the leaders of tomorrow. How come we have been breeding a generation that is naive about the unfolding events in Nigeria? How come they are so uninformed about the political history of this nation? And if they are not informed, shall we, the elders, not be making a grave error of judgment by leaving or exiting without be putting a solid structure to them, a solid political structure to them, so that they can build on? For how long should the Ayuade Banjos, the Papa Fashonotis, the Bishop Ladi Dolus, the Bishop Bonigis, Ebenezer Babato Press, Banji Akintoyes, Senator Femi Okoromo, Bisi Akofe, Shegun Oshoba, and others be in the trenches to fight the cause of the Yoruba nation? Where are the traditional rulers who should be in the front foot, who should be at the vanguard of this cause? Actually, they should be leading from the front. Or, at the national level, where the likes of Aminu Kano, the Balarabe Musas, the Abubakar Rimis, the J.S. Takers, the Josiah Olawonyis, who can galvanize and mobilize the people for the restructuring of this country? Where are the SG Ikokus? Before the political journey starts, that is before the politicians start putting the blocks in place for 2027, is it not time now to reiterate that the foundation they want to build on is faulty? And if it is so faulty, how can there be another election in the country when the issues of a new constitution, the governance structure, and restructuring have not been resolved? And so on Insight this morning, our focus is mobilization and advocacy for restructuring. Mobilization and advocacy for restructuring. Whom shall we send? Who will go for us? Who are those who will be in the forefront of that journey of restructuring? And who will be the vanguard for the restructuring of this country? And
who shall we send? All right, let me introduce our panel. We are with us, the King of Olabioladejo is with us live today. Happy New Year, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Welcome. And Mr. Lalo Abuguloko is here. Very good morning to you, Mr. Abuguloko. Nicky, let's start with you. Mobilization. Who shall we send? The call for restructuring is gaining traction. But it appears that those to send, Femi in his introduction talked about the fact that the generation of the youth today don't know the history. And of course, if you do not know your history, how then can you delve into the future? How can mobilization, massive one, be made for restructuring? Perhaps if such is achieved, the government will now know that it is not a call coming from selected few, but that is the wish of the majority of the people.
Thank you. Happy New Year, Nigerians. I'm happy to be back. Mobilizing for restructuring is ordinarily mobilizing the youth. The unfortunate thing is the type of youth we have today. And I will not blame them. I hope we get there. When we are talking about Awolowo, Azikwe, how old were these guys? how old was Yakubu Gowon when he became head of state? Looking at people born where? During the military era. And that is exactly the real challenge. When Awolowo was there, it's easy. The enemy then that they need to confront were pure aliens. But the people you now need to confront are your brothers, your fathers, your uncles. So that becomes a little bit challenging. But even having said that, who are the people to confront them? The people that were born when it's a taboo to actually carry placard. The Imodus of this world about Macaulay will line the streets of Lagos and make life difficult for the foreigners. But if you line the street against Tinubu today, you are lining the street against your own brother, against your own father. So those are part of the problem.
You may even be picked up.
Now, that's one challenge. Now, suppose you even want to now say, look, essentially, I want to fight for my rights. And they pick you up. These are the challenges. But then, this does not mean it's not doable. Your strategy will only need to change. Okay? Up till Adilabu was hawking stockfish on the street of Ibadan. But that didn't stop him from becoming what he will become. Who was Awolowo? Nobody should tell me it's because of the economy. No. Who was Awolowo? Awolowo didn't have the advantage of going to formal school, as it were.
They produce methods.
Right? So nobody should have any excuse other than the fact that we need to enlighten these guys to tell them that the future we are talking about, Ayo Adebanjo, with all due respect, is my father. I pray he lives long. But I will never pray for Ayo Adebanjo to live the number of years he has lived again. So that means perhaps he has taken his ticket. He's just waiting for boarding pass. But for these guys in their 20s, in their 30s, they are destroying your future and you are looking.
But the issue is, have these ones come to terms with the fact that restructuring is actually to their benefits? There are some youth who believe that this concept of restructuring is for the aged, is for the elderly ones.
Now let's start like this. The guy that labor is entitled to the fruit of his labor. If you leave the trenches for this 80-year-old, 90-year-old, they are the one that will now dictate what happens. And what will they dictate? What do they know? Under normal circumstances, even people like me should queue behind this youth to say, okay, go. They are far better than me. They are far better than Adebanjo. They see better. They understand better. But the problem is this: 1966 to this day. How long is this?
15 years.
Right? So the people that were born 1966, how old are they today? And these are now becoming elders without really understanding the meaning of Western region. They only read it, perhaps they had it from Makpadenos of this world. How they were eating chicken in school, free of charge. And yet they will not let the people even go to school, not to talk of eating chicken. And you are there, you've read this, we've been saying it, and you don't want to say, how did this happen? Why did this happen? When will I be able? The America all of you are struggling to go at a particular time, and I dare say even up to today, your skin color is a great disadvantage. There is a limit to what you can achieve because of your skin color, and yet you are running there. You go there, you get to age 70, and you just discover that you are useless. I have my friends there, I have my children there.
You can't go home.
And it become difficult for you to go home, and you are not exactly useful where you are. What is the benefit of an 80-year-old man, 70-year-old woman, that you are coming and your grandchildren are running away because they've never seen you? They saw you maybe in picture. And the beauty of old age is for those young ones to come and even pull your beard.
Okay, Mr. Bobuloko, let's look at it this way. The king just spoke about the young ones that we have today, who are born in a military mentality, let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Because if you look back even from 1999, when we started
In this dispensation.
it was still some militarized things. So, with this kind of upbringing, with this kind of mindset, can they be properly mobilized? I'm throwing this to you deliberately because I knew you were part of the Ali Must Go of 1976, 1977,
Yes.
led by Shegun Okewu.
Yes.
That was a proper mobilization.
Yes.
Can the youths of today be properly mobilized? Forget, I'm bringing it into view what happened during the end service.
Okay, it could be done, and the Riba group is trying. We pray that God will crown our efforts. You see, just like Dickens said, at different times we have different people, different power configuration to confront. During the time of Papa Awolowo and so on, it was the Europeans, the colonialists. During Ali Must Go, it was the military. And the military have a way of doing things. They don't believe in lobbying or persuasion. They understand force. And when confronted with such, the youth of those days, they were ready to meet force with force. But let us not forget the way the powers that be now operate. I remember sometimes there was a protest in Lagos, and policemen were serving the protesters chilled water, and people were struggling for those whom you are supposed to be protesting against are now supplying you refreshment, and that was how the thing just fizzled out. These people, they've got so many ways of manipulating the youth. The APC, we have youth wing. The universities and polytechnics is their recruitment something.
They have youth leaders. How old is the youth leader?
That's part of the problem. That's it. And the youth that are supposed to be the vanguard of this struggle are their recruitment centers. So it's becoming difficult by the day, and it's only like the Bible says, the kingdom of God suffereth violence, and the violent take it by force. If these people are using certain strategy, it behooves the strategists and people like Ribat and all the rest to devise different methods, different ways of countering their moves. So the youth of nowadays, they are so how would I call it? Their mentality, the way they think, are so multivarious and so diverse that in those days it was a Luther. it was a black movement that you have in university. You have black movement, socialist movement, and all these sort of groups. Although we have social groups too, but nowadays you hardly find such. You, in your analysis the other time, you are saying those that know Obafemi Awolowo and do not know Obafemi, they know Obafemi Martins. They don't know. Go to their campuses now when there is this football something, and you see the way there is a saying that it is Premier League that gives a child authority to say he wants to trash his father. So the way they think is different, and that is what makes this the point we are discussing today to be very germane. That they need reorientation. They need people to tell them. If the people say if you are losing something and you don't know what you are losing, maybe you are not, if you are missing something and you don't know what you are missing, maybe you are not missing anything. Okay. Like if they should be told what is achievable, what they can enjoy, what those leaders, just like Dickens said the other time, we in our set, what we enjoyed in the universities and polytechnics. Some of them will just be wondering, maybe is just tale by the moonlight. But this thing happened, and it's still achievable. We can still get chicken in Nigeria today. We can still get all these things. It is not those chicken that we had in those days were not imported. We still have land. But it is because our focus is wrong. So maybe we have to re-strategize, and we'll get there.
This issue, mobilizing the youth. Today's youth, if you put the age group, the 35-year-old is still living with his parents. Because the major thing confronting today's youth is survival. How do you now mobilize somebody who is hungry, somebody who has no visible means of livelihood, somebody who just the next thing is thinking of is, how do I survive?
Unfortunately, those are actually the people to mobilize. Hunger is a unifying factor.
But he doesn't listen to you. Somebody who is hungry will not listen to anyone.
Now, that is actually the danger. Hunger can push you to madness. Poverty. The line between poverty and madness
is so thin.
Is thin. You see, the truth really is this. We are moving towards certain things that I pray everybody will understand. You've pushed these people. They didn't see anything. Unfortunately, they keep hearing what you enjoy. You are building room for revolution. You push them now. Many of them have now become a real economic factor for America, for Britain. If you know how much those guys are making from visa application,
particularly from Nigeria.
If you know how much those people are making, you need to go to American Embassy place. You will think you are at Liberty Stadium. See youth, many of them sleeping
overnight there
at embassy, all because they have 10 o'clock appointment, which they must not miss. You miss it for a second, you are gone. Now, when these guys get over there, I've been saying this thing. Unfortunately, I don't know whether some of us are getting it. The people that are running out to do what? Many of them to do menial jobs. And what they are calculating is that if I make $10 or more, that is already thousands of naira. Abi? Yes. Good. How do you spend it? Are you going to spend naira? You are going to spend dollar.
And you have bills to pay. There.
And you have bills to pay. So automatically, you earn the dollar. If you translate it in your mind, you're already a millionaire. But by the time the month ends and you are not able, you can't owe NEPA over there, and you have to hit your room.
Particularly this season.
Right? So you discover that at the end of the month, you have nothing left. And after struggling doing that, because of the weather, your skin will become, somehow you will be glowing. So you snap picture and send to your friends at home. But by the time you have spent 10 years there and you discover that you have not saved $10,000 in 10 years, something will ring in your brain. When those ones now come back, they are now the more danger that I'm talking about. They've gone there, they've lost it. Some have been deported for flimsy. I know, I read about some people. They got there legitimately. But the people that employ them as laborers, the person I'm talking about had master's degree and have stayed for 5 years and was now told that they now have a policy that after 5 years you must resign. Because another set of slaves must be brought in. This guy was forced to resign and was jobless for almost 6 months. Of course, he ran dry of whatever savings he think he has. Now became almost a beggar over there. Until the landlord now ejected him. And rather than giving him any chance, they simply deported him. It is those people that will now come, and that is now the danger. You are now looking chummy. And the guy realized that, what opportunity do you have that I don't have? Other than you have access to free money through fraud. So I either join the people doing fraud, doing Yahoo, doing sacrifices and fetish things, or I carry gun. The people that are kidnapping in town, some of them are not actually doing anything. It's business. May they not carry you. If they carry you and demand just 100 million and you are able to pay 10 million, what type of business do you want to do in 4 days that you make 10 million? What type of business?
All right, the king. Many youths, when they hear of these good old days, there are some of them that will ask, is Nigeria worth dying for? You get to hear that from them. Not because fighting for the future is no good, but they have lost hope, asking themselves, the ones who fought for this nation yesterday, where are they? And again, is the environment very conducive? You see, as you are talking about mobilization, perhaps if you repeat it more than 20 times, you may get an invite. That is the environment the youths are in now. And so everybody is scared. And so when you want to mobilize them, they tell you, you don't gather in 20s and 30s in public places. And again, they ask, the Constitution, has provision for freedom of association and all that. So it is within this type of environment that these youths operate. And so they are
Uncle, do I tell you something? Have you heard the name Bola Ahmed Tinubu before? Do you know he was leading protests at a particular time? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. It's like now those lepers. If we remain here, we die. If we move, we will die. Why must I fold my arms and die? The youth that are waiting for somebody to make everything beautiful, let's say, don't really understand that nothing ventured, nothing gained. I've told you now, even with pen, do you know the number of times they pick up an Auro? Do you know the number of times they pick up Ganifawa Emi? Do you know the number of times even Tinubu was being chased away?
They ended up becoming heroes. There are youths that have been picked up. 2 years after, no one is even talking about them. That's even the
It's not, it has never and will never be like that. Maybe you've heard the name Indira Gandhi before. Maybe you've heard the name Martin Luther King Jr. before. Have you heard those names before? Indira Gandhi, all you need to do is to make up your mind. Like I said, if I move from here, I may die. It's me. If I remain here, I may die. It's me. But which one? It's better I die facing my tormentors, doing what I know is good, than remaining docile and being done in. Let's get this straight. And I'm being sincere about this. Okay? Nothing happens unless you make it happen. It is normal. Your challenge is not my challenge. 1940 something, Indira Gandhi was challenging his own set of people. As I'm talking to you today, there are people still agitating in America. Let me use the word rascals. The people who don't like the system and they don't care what happens are the people that voted for Trump. Forget about your big English. We need to get something done radical.
Take America back.
Take America back. Make America great again. So there is not as if everybody in America is so comfortable. No. Even the Americans, white Americans, I'm not talking of black Americans, even the white Americans have issues. But must you fold your hands?
Okay, Mr. Bogoloko. I'll still take you back to those days, 78, 79, of the
Alimungo.
When we are talking about 3 C's, Operation Consultation, Operation Consolidation,
and Confrontation.
3 C's. Now, in this present struggle to achieve a restructuring of this country, has the Rebel Group started anything called consultation?
Of course, we've done that. We did a symposium in Ibadan. We did another one in Kaduna, and we are still consulting with people of like minds. The Ali must go time. Just to answer Anu's question about those people fighting for Nigeria, is Nigeria worth fighting for? If you are positive about things and you are being sincere, you are a sort of altruistic thinking, people may misunderstand you, powers that be may want to persecute you, but people will support you at the end of the day. And such fights, they usually have reward at the end of the day. People like Okewu, he was arrested and brutalized, but eventually people like Ganifa Emi and some other people came around and employed him, and you have Mayegun and all those student leaders. People, and we have something similar to that happening in the political landscape now. People will you get those who will support you. You get those who will see the truth in what you are trying to say. So this consultation, Rebel Group is doing that, and this program that we are in now is part of the consultation and dissemination of the activities of the group. So the atmosphere now, unless we just want to scare ourselves, is not as bad as the military era now. Now
there's an impression that perhaps, you see, all those periods you talked about, there are some Nigerians who will tell you, especially these youth, that the reward system was superb at that time. That was a good time. As we speak, there are parents who will drag in their children. You want to go and do what? Oh, you want to get mobilized for what? during the end SARS, during the end bad governance protest, some parents want their children. You dare join this if anything happens to you. This is, unlike those days, people confronted the powers that be.
You see, we are in a political era. Any movement, any advocacy you want to embark upon now, one has to be very careful that you are not politically tainted. That what you are fighting for is not a sort of selfish interest. When you are confronting the government and bad governance, it's different from let us restructure. It is different from the system is bad. Let us find something to do about it. The government in power, you are not saying the government should be sacked, but let us eventually, our line of argument, especially the Riba group, is that even no matter how good the present government is, whenever you leave the place, some other people will come that they will undo what you have done, and we will be back to square one. So it's better for us to make the system, to put it on an autopilot, just the American way, so to speak. So it's different from you confronting the government and saying you won't have the election in 2027 and all sort of things. We are not saying what you are doing is too bad, but the system is bad. That is what we are saying. So if we take our argument along that line, I don't think any sane person will say you are will charge you for sedition or anything of such nature. That one is different from confrontation with government. This thing is a kind of welfare something. It will benefit everybody, even the government in power. So there is no way the government can find a way to rope you in such a way. That's it. The methodology and the line of thought, the method of putting your argument into the political space, we will determine the kind of reaction you get from government.
Okay, Dickie, I'll put two questions together for you. Number one is, when you talk of mobilization, you're talking of pulling together resources, men, material, whatever, and whatever. But today's youth, the first thing they may likely ask you, what is the maker? Will you mobilize me? And when they say mobilize me, that means Naira and Copper. So that's number one. Are you prepared for the reverse? Are you prepared for that? Number two, is this advocacy at the higher level? How involved are traditional leaders? How involved are the leaders of thought in doing all this? And how are we getting across to those, the political elite?
Well, the situation, we didn't get to this situation overnight. The problem we are having started long before now. There have been agitations since 1914. So we need to start by educating each other. Just ask yourself, is this the best life you can live? Simple. If no, you are a human being. Start thinking, what can you do? I happen to know, you sent your children to school.
I think so.
Why?
For them to get educated.
Why?
To be liberated.
Why? You see, the idea really is this. You look at education and say, this is the best way I can liberate my children from poverty, from ignorance. They can be able to reason on their own. Right? Now, the type of youth that we have today, we've established it. Only are hearing. Right? And when you are talking of history. People know Obafemi Martins. Awolowo, who is that? They don't know him because they were not taught anything about him. The idea of mobilizing people with money comes only when I'm buying something. And that's why your politics is the way it is. We in Rebirth Group, we can assist you, but you can't hope to get 1 kobo from anybody. Because I'm not buying anything anyway. I'm not buying your loyalty. I don't need your vote. So if you are coming with the aim that that guy will give me 10 naira, sorry. But the question I want to ask you, if you come around me, is this the best you can ever be? If no, why have you not improved your life? So we give you the opportunity to think.
So how then are you reaching out to the powers that be, the political elite, the others, the whoever?
I don't want to be mentioning names. We are contacting people.
Part of advocacy.
We are contacting people. That's the truth. And may I shock you that many people are only sitting by defense. They know what is going on is not good. Some are already tainted. Some are tired. Some are tainted because somehow they were pushed into collecting money from people and they couldn't deliver. So people are looking at them as fraudsters. I dare say there are so many people that believe the Yoruba Nation thing was a scam for people to mobilize money for their own personal use, which may not be true. Some people are there genuinely. Of course, you don't have money to feed. Just like you have in your politics. You have no second address. And here you have people are mobilizing millions for you. Or more you reach up now. But 99% of anybody you find in TRG, to God's glory, are able to feed. And no, let me look at you in the face and tell you that I don't know how much you think will motivate me to steal money. I don't need money. I'm telling you the basic truth. Not that I have, but my basic needs are met. All I need to do is to eat.
But this don't look attitude. This don't look approach.
No, I'm telling you, for some people, they are only tired. Don't force me to mention him. I was talking with somebody. After first, second meeting, the guy looked at me and said, "You are very consistent with this thing." I was like this in 19 Kiniko. I was like this in 20 Kiniko. This is what I was doing. I was frustrated. And that's why I'm no longer there. I can mention names. I know somebody that I challenged to his face, and I think you will know what I'm saying. I told him I respect you quite a lot, but you disappointed me. And he looked at me. The first day I met him face to face. And he looked at me. I was just looking. Somebody you are meeting for the first time. Why are you talking like this? I said, people like you, is it the type of legacy you want to leave behind? And the man threw me a challenge from which I have not recovered till today. He told me what they've done. He told me what he's doing. The truth is this. If you think everybody, I don't know how to translate this now in English. If you say you want to close your eyes for the bad people to go, by the time the good ones are moving, you may not know. It's not everybody that is doing this for fraud. Right? For God's sake, 90% of those that are involved in TRG, the Rebirth Group, I don't remember any of them looking for 10 naira. And these guys have traveled from Sokoto to Kaduna and others on their own. The truth, we must... Okay, I was somewhere yesterday and somebody said, Impact is looking for you. And I said, when did you change my name to Impact? Time is going. Even if you amass trillions, you are not likely going to be buried with it. And you will not eat one cow in a day. So why do you need it? You really don't need it. So this are part of the education. You risk nothing. Those that are afraid that maybe they pick me, maybe they will not pick me. Life is nothing without risk anyway.
With the reintroduction of history, Mr. Lausa, the Minister of Education, told Nigerians 2 days ago that President Bola Tinubu has approved the reintroduction of history studies back in the schools.
It is. It is. When I know how you kill my father, I want to ask question. And that's why we are saying nobody should be teaching Mungo Park. To start with, it's stupid for you to think Mungo Park discover anywhere.
But that's what
it's stupid for you to say it, it's stupid for you to believe it. Mungo Park discover River Niger. It was not there before.
What we taught in history, the amalgamation story.
Yes.
How Lord Lugard amalgamated.
Yes.
The northern
and then we now need to ask those youth, those 13-year-olds that you'll be teaching that. Who is Lugard? Why did he amalgamate Nigeria, northern and southern Nigeria? How did Hausas lose their throne in the north? We need to know. We need to ask questions. Who is Olubadan? How did he become Olubadan? We need to ask questions. What was the relationship between Egba and Ijebu? We need to ask questions. Who are these Ibadans? Where did they come from?
Mr. Bugaro, you are smiling.
Yeah.
You know, the type of history taught, I could remember in my SS1, I was taught history, and I could remember what I was taught. But thank God for, programs like these that will enrich the gamut of your knowledge and all that. I could remember DK once said that the type of education being given to Nigerian youth itself, its fault is just it's for you to be able to write A, B, C, D and all that. In the real sense of it, with this reintroduction of history, how far do you think this mobilization will go, if it is?
In fact, this is a very fertile atmosphere for those who can write, for those who believe in Nigeria, those who believe in the Yorubas, who believe in Yoruba freedom, the Nopes who believe in their... Let people come out with their history. Nobody can tell your history better than you yourself. And one thing about history is that it depends on, at times it depends on who is telling the history. When there is a war between two tribes or nations, when you write your history about that war, and I write my own, if you look at it from, if my tribe or whatever was defeated, in my history I would just say that battle was so tough, and our warriors they did their best, and the atmosphere was not favorable, and you hardly hear defeat from it. But when you read from the other side, you see, you put the two together.
Unfortunately, our education is not structured like that. What is taught?
Government is now, yes. If you want to teach history, and what we are advocating is not for the federal government to say this is history syllabus for every. Let every people, let every ethnic group or region tell their history. Let them what you need to know about yourself. I'm sure that from Nigeria of today, if a Fulani man wants to write the history of the North, he will hardly mention that he came from Futajalon, that is not a native. Why the Hausa man wants to write the history, he will want to talk about the good old days when their obas and kings were the helm of affairs. These are the kind of things that we need. So that some people will not okay. In the first instance, why did we have to remove history from from curriculum.
You suspect?
Yes. If there is nothing wrong with removing it, somebody wouldn't have returned it now. It means some people, they had some sinister motives by removing history. How do you say, when you don't know where you are coming from, and you don't, how will you prepare for where you are going to? So it is, the time is now ripe for people to write their history. Let people write their history. You can write your own, I write my own, then this authority will consider the different fashions and choose the kind of books. Even in Ibadan, not local government, the kind of history that our primary school history book that our primary school pupils will read might be different from what they would use in Oyo North or Elisha local government, for example. They will want to hear about the story of Ogedengbe, and while people in Ibadan will want to hear about Gumola and all the rest. Those are the things that we need. Those are the things that will bring us up. We will study how our people were in those days. We were not totally unorganized. We had our own government. We have our governance structure and all the rest. But people just did everything and modeled it up, and as if we are coming from nowhere. So it is a positive something.
Taking it from where Mr. Bobuloko ended, are we getting nearer truth and reconciliation with this reintroduction of history into the school curriculum?
Unfortunately, I may disappoint you here now. I'm not really interested in all this. Please let us restructure first.
Before we start talking about...
Because before you start talking about anything, let's restructure. Let me be able to control my life.
But from what Mr. Bobuloko said, you write your own history, I write my own history.
Towards what?
At least towards understanding each other.
Understanding what?
Let us understand.
Let us restructure. What's your problem with restructuring? Why must you be the one controlling my life?
That is when we tell the history.
But Dickie, is a reconciliation not going to be part of the restructuring? It is
going to be, but it is a part, not that you just want to...
We don't lay too much emphasis on it.
When you are talking of... okay, let me go back to the history that you are talking about.
Okay.
Up till I'm talking to you now, I don't care what you want to study in America, architecture, medicine, or whatever. You must study American history. Yes. You must. And if you score 99.99 in your medical's this thing, and you don't pass American history, you are going nowhere. Nobody will give you that certificate. So it's important we know. They want Americans to know where they come from. And this is not because my daughter said she didn't like what they were writing and have to challenge a lecturer. Why are you writing this about blacks? And the lady, a black lecturer actually, a black American, looked at her and said, "Where are you from?" And I said, "I'm from Nigeria." He just walked out. He said, "I know." Right? You see, the thing is this, put it down. My children's children will challenge what you put down. But let us know. The first thing is, for God's sake, let me be in charge of my life.
The king, history, does it erodes or it refreshes, old wounds?
No.
Does it heal? Because the more some persons get to hear of the past, the more embittered they become.
Yeah, I will be. If you are not prepared to do the right thing, if you want to continue to do what your forefathers do to my father, I will be bitter.
That's why we are still talking of reconciliation.
Now, that's where that comes in. Yeah. But what I am saying is this: reconciliation towards what? Don't forget, it's not as if we've not attempted it here in Nigeria. Obasanjo did Okuta panel, which in a way is something like that. right? Reconciliation in South Africa brought their president to become vice president.
The clerk.
Right? Because he had to accept the fact that, look, I don't merit this position. The clerk himself set up this thing. And after they told him the story, he said, I'm sorry. That is reconciliation. What is happening in Kigali today? Right? Yeah. These guys kill your parents. I'm sorry, it will never happen again. Then he heals wound. Because now you are conscious of the fact that this is why I hate you. Because I am nursing an ambition that one day you will fall into my trap. I want to retaliate what your forefathers did to my forefather. So I'm looking forward to it. But by the time we've opened the wound, if you go to the medical people and they want to dress your wound, there are occasions that they will even tear it more. Okay? To be able to sew it together. Right? The scar will be there. You now tell me this is what happened. I want to know why it happened. And you told me why it happened. I did not want, it's not as if my father wanted to kill your forefathers. No. They met in the farm. There was a battle. In anger, my father used the cutlass to hit your father. So it's just anger. Right? It's not as if they hated each other. Oh, I never knew they were friends. What happened? This is what happened. And we move on. If with you and your wife, if at any time you have to say, don't put this there, then nobody must hear of it because you don't want to open old wound. What?
There's even a saying that those who do not learn from history,
we repeat
the history. You learn from history.
The idea of learning history is actually for me to prepare my mind to know who my father has offended. And if he did, my forefathers did it in their own reasoning, as at that time they thought that's the right thing to do. Right? And I now know that, no, I mean, you shouldn't have done that. But we apologize and move on.
Before we open the phone lines, I wish to ask this. There is this concept of catch them young. Okay, so you've spoken about the importance of learning history in school. Which other institution do you think the youth can be, cut up a mass to get mobilized for this restructuring, agitation? Is it, the stadium? Where exactly? There are so many things the youth love.
No,
what football?
Okay, you are talking of medium now.
Yes.
The medium here, this is exactly what we are doing. Maybe 1, 2, 3 people are listening to us. They are learning. Some of them will call back. We will learn from them too. They will tell us what perhaps we didn't know. They will tell us. So there is a feedback mechanism. Right? We are not teaching, as it were. We are learning too. Some of the stories we have been saying were what we were told. And that we believe is true. So if you know it's not true, you can as well call. So that one is there. Today, social media is terrible. You can do a lot of mobilization through social media. And we are trying to see if we can do that. Of course, like you said, it may cost 10 naira, 20 naira, some money to do. So for those, nobody is asking you for money. Okay? You can as well call and say, those materials that you are distributing, can I print on your behalf? Come and give us those materials, and you print and give to us, we distribute. You are contributing. So contribution is not just limited to having the opportunity to be shouting on radio. No. You can mobilize in your own area. Talk to them. Talk to the youth. What you know was the advantage of when you are in charge.
There's a call here. Hello, good morning. Yes, good morning. Hello.
Well, you can be part of the discourse this morning. The numbers to call 0916-104-7698, 0916-104-7698, 0902-280-9257, or 0907-072-0980. Those are the numbers to call to be part of the discourse.
Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
A very good morning to you. Oh, okay. I'll kindly call back our program this morning. Let's check who is here. Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir. I'm Wally from Medicine Jericho.
All right, welcome.
Kudos to the guests in the studio. I had very important good news from your guest here that by the time you say you should close eyes for the bad ones to go, by the time you close that eye, if the good one will pass, you don't know. A lot of work needs to be done by the state government. Mr. Sheyimakide. For example, I took my bag as a Okada rider to Olonda. Would you believe that this hoodlum, they mount themselves in many ways? By the time I will come back, they will have to collect my bag. Since I sat that experience, I have to pass through.
Okay, thanks so much. That's not the issue for this course this morning.
Thank you so much.
God bless you.
Thank you so much, Wally from Medici. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Thank you.
I am Private Chief coming from Ijebu.
Welcome.
I want the management to allow me to serve this. Several callers this morning, we need to be very careful and face the issue we are discussing here. I wouldn't be pleased if several callers this morning would be avoiding the issues we have discussed and trying to push with Nigerians into a kind of litigation or problem. We should concentrate on the issue and because also must learn to cut us off once we are going against the etiquette of broadcasting. Now talking about mobilizing the Nigerian youth, and the question from the Nigerian youth leader in the house, is Nigeria worth fighting for? Or crying out loud, we have no other country, so we must all defend and fight for this country to be unique and rise among nations that are allies. Talking about mobilizing the Nigerian youth, I called earlier so that I can inform the house what we have done, what we were invited to do. Now we were invited sometimes in October and said, what are we going to do about the Nigerian youth? And we found out that we have 66,000 Nigerian gangs of youth in Nigeria. Some majorly girls, some majorly boys, and some are combined. We found out that over 15,000 youth are into deadly groups. We found out that 10,000 youth are errant boys and girls. We found out that 20,000 are on vengeance mission. We found out that 12,000 has no purpose at all, no mission. They are just roaming about. We found out that 6,000 are on suicidal mission. And only 3,000 was on genuine agitation. Now what can 3,000 do over 63,000 groups? So if you now want to mobilize, how do we now mobilize? That is why we protected the youth conference. That through that conference, we can increase the number of the new youth. I want the discussions in the house to use the debate of this conference of the Nigerian youth to mobilize the youth this morning and see how they can use that conference to get more better genuine Nigerian youth to come on board. Good morning.
Thank you. Hello, good morning. Madam Deborah, good morning.
Let us take this stand back. Let us have been training them for the politicians to find their life again for us. What can we do to the politicians who are not ready to help us in this country but to destabilize our future? This is the problem we are facing. It's the politicians and their enemies that have destroyed this country for us. It's just Saudi Arabia's governor, this man, to go to Nigeria for treatment. What is starting to adjust us? Don't we have pharmacists who can produce enough drugs for us to use? And they speak the archives.
Okay.
Because of their own interest. Let us do something from the grassroots to the presidency. We will have our country back. God will heal our land.
All right. Thank you so much for your time on the program this morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. My name is Olorunfemi from
Yanashi. From Yanashi.
Yeah.
All right. Welcome to the program. Thank you.
Thank you. I have two contributions. First and foremost, I also say that sometimes they are like mine, but because we don't have good communication, like someone like me, I would love to be part of that Shepherd's group if I have the opportunity or I have the link to be part of them. I have a lot of things I know I can contribute that will help the mobilization, but the truth is, the information we don't have it. That's one. Secondly, I understand that the Nigerians have a lot of distractions here and there. We have been distracted with the social media, we have been distracted with the entertainment, and we have been shown shortcuts to making it in this country. So I think the best thing we should first do is to call a conference of like minds. Let like minds come out.
Thank you.
When those like minds come together, we'll be able to strategize on very good strategies we can use to reach out, meet background, and the best language we can use to communicate to these current youth and the listening.
All right.
So that's what I think.
Thank you so much, Mr. Olorunfemi from Yanashi. 0907 072098 09016 104768 0811-052-6487. These are the numbers to call to be part of the program this morning. All right. Hello, good morning. Hello. Okay. Mr. Bogumuluku, Prime Minister Lashitu talked about the youth conference that the president spoke about some time ago. Do you consider that as a mobilization strategy for restructuring?
Well, government has realized the importance of the youth, and probably they want to carry them along. And one can say is a positive move if they are not trying to buy them over. It is the youth that are, on social media, and they are the ones shouting here and there about hunger and so on and so forth. And if government should call them and try to use their type to explain things to them, at least from a government perspective, and if they are able to convince them, probably the youth could be part of could be used as a tool in galvanizing the society to greater heights. That's on the positive side.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Thank you.
John Ograf.
All right, welcome.
And now,
Sir.
the first thing we have to do is to change the name Nigeria. Because if you look at that name, it's a woman that gives us that name. And the woman doesn't give name in the family when a child is born. Let our elders come out and give us a befitting name that have meaning. Nigeria does not have a meaning. That is the first thing to do first, before any other thing. Because when we change our name and have a new name, we will not have where we are going. For now, as we are answering that name, that is the reason why we are not getting it right. Good morning.
All right, Mr. John Okorafor, thank you so much for your time. Mr. John Okorafor is entitled to his opinion, and that's what he believes. 0907 072 0980 0811 052 64 and 87. These are the numbers to call. You can also call 0901 610 4698. Alright, calling, we are looking at mobilization and advocacy for restructuring. How do we mobilize Nigerians, especially the youth, to buy into the restructuring agitation?
So let's look at it this way, Dicky. Who will go for us and who shall we send?
No. Whoever is ready to go. This is not a matter of looking for who
That should be a rallying point.
The rallying point is TRG. We set TRG up essentially to mobilize people. Essentially to let them know what they are missing, what is obtainable if they can come together. So the first point is accepting the fact that you yourself, you are a leader.
No waiting for any other person.
No, don't wait. You are a leader. The TRG is essentially meant to be a group of leaders, okay, that will come together. You have your opinion, I have my opinion, okay. By the time you say your opinion, it's possible that might amend my thought, and I may buy into what you are saying, and it's possible that you may have to amend your thought and buy into what I'm saying. But the goal should not differ. The goal is that this country must be restructured. Every region must be entitled to its own constitution to be able to govern itself. Western region had a constitution. When the Oyinbos were living, they did not live it like this. It was not this bad. As at the time Awolowo was ruling, they started from 80% of the resources. Only 20% was going to the center. By the time all this agitation and whatever, 50% was still going to the region. But you look at what is happening now. You are lucky if you have 13%, because of what they are giving them in the oil, whatever. No, this is ugly, and that is exactly why we are not developing. There is no incentive for me to dig into the ground of my father and look for what is in there, because I know majority of whatever I get from there goes up. A friend was with me on Sunday. The guy is from Osun. His father had told him all along, they've told him that under this ground here that we are farming, there is even something better, there is gold. The guy came and then said, okay, we know. By the time he got to Abuja, they told him that this thing has been licensed to somebody or whatever. And he went to approach them. This is my father's land. And those ones said, you need to pay 100 million. I hope the guy is listening to me.
On his father's land.
He needs to pay 100 million to get the land back on his father's land.
Which other country practices this type of a system that Nigeria is running with? We will be told that Nigeria's presidential system of government was copied from the United States.
No, please. We've said that before here now.
Speaking about things in different fashion.
What different fashion? No fashion. It's a lie. Which America are you talking about? America,
United States.
United States of America. Each state in America has its own constitution. Each state in America conducts its own election. Senators sleep in their office in America. You know, once you take your salary, one, go to hell. Nobody is interested in their youth. And because New York is too expensive, even for the Senate. Please,
Some of them even share apartments.
Yeah, that's it. 2-3 of them will go and rent 3-bedroom flats.
So where could these have come from?
And even the president pays for his own meals.
The president pays for his own meals. The president go about your public transport, the train. What are you talking? Which American constitution? No. Because it was imposed on us and nobody could say anything, and you keep repeating the same lie. No which American constitution are you talking about?
Well,
here we have
it's a common knowledge
that
Nigeria's presidential system is fashioned towards that of the United States of America.
I don't think the EU are we practicing federalism. That's the question. Because federalism is when the center shares sovereignty with the So in the United States, they share sovereignty with the federal government. But in our own case, whatever the center does is final. So the states who are supposed to be the federating unit, they don't have any power or.
There is not. I don't even see what seems to look like an American. I can't see it. The only thing they did was to marry.
But they have immunity in America, and we have immunity. That one is.
What?
Immunity.
In America. America that will ask for tax receipt of the president, sitting president.
In America, what you have immunity on is what is any presidential function.
Anything you do in line of your duty.
As a president. But here, anything our president or governor does, you have immunity. Even if you, for blue murder.
Have you ever heard of the type of looting that your government officials are doing in America?
Because kind of winner takes all.
Yeah, and that's what we are saying. It does not happen in America. Which America are you really talking about? Don't confuse.
You have the United States of America.
You have INEC in America. Each state conducts their election, whether presidential or whichever. The state will conduct the election.
There are states in America that only strive on IT. They don't care anything happening. There are those that thrive on gambling, entertainment. You rule your life whichever way you want, because there is nowhere you are taking your boat to say federal what? There's nothing like that.
Dikin, you said that time is of essence, and you gave an impression that time was already running out. But unfortunately, this is 2025. I could see the call, for preparations for 2027 getting louder than anything about restructuring. And you said it's a road to nowhere.
Well, luckily, I guess you would have heard me say that even before now. Anybody can play a fool. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you want to do. Okay? It doesn't matter what you want to do. Right? Unless you do the right thing, you can't get the right result. I don't see how you can use this constitution. I don't see it. I'm not saying it's impossible. I don't see how you want to use a constitution that centralizes power in the hand of individual. I don't see it. Did you notice what happened during the last election in America? They were campaigning, and the people said, "This man, you will lose," and the man withdrew. Do you think that can happen in Nigeria?
The incumbent president,
Joe Biden,
he withdrew. No, America is not a place where you do that type of a thing. But talking about Nigeria, honestly speaking, it does not really matter. If you continue this way, you will soon hit the wall.
But politicians have started preparing for 2027.
You can't.
They are not prepared.
When you are allowing them, they are the one eating now. Do you want them to just release the bowl of soup just like that?
Nature does not allow vacuum. Somebody will be there.
No, sincerely speaking,
preparing for what even on the
and Nigeria is not a place in all of these.
If you feel helpless, okay. Unfortunately, I think our time is fast spent. Let me give you this example. 1937-38 in India. Britain was their lord, and gradually they were taking things, even things that they can do, just like the Ogogoro thing here. They will come and say you cannot do this, so they will go and import it. When they saw something, Gandhi saw something that he could latch on. When they banned salt. You know, every normal human being needs salt. They ban salt. They produce salt locally from their sea. They produce salt. They now ban it. They said it's inferior, is whatever. When they ban it, everybody was looking. By the time they now added tax to it, so the salt you are buying at 10 naira now become 12 naira. That is, my local salt is like maybe 3 naira. You now say it's inferior, you ban it. Because Gandhi mobilized his people and said, do you want to eat foreign salt? And everybody said no. They trekked for 240 miles, trekking to go and protest. And you know what they were doing? Let's say they started from, let's say, Lagos. It took them 3 weeks. By the time they get to Ibadan people will troop out. Join them. They will get to Oyo people will troop out. Join them. They get to Ilori people, you know, like that. They were adding people. What started with about 50 people became almost 1 million.
Yes.
By the time they got to, let's say, Abuja, 240 miles, I think. And it took them just 7 days. 21 days, 24 days or so to do it. At the end of the day, they have no choice. When they got to the sea, they were going to the sea. They wanted to go and do that, what they call inferior salt. So they went, it's like coming from Abuja to go to Bar Beach in Lagos. So they got there, and Gandhi told everybody that can make salt, begin to make salt. They arrested him. But when the people refused to leave the seaside, they were still producing, they have to leave the man. We are not ready. Right? I'm talking of 1930 something. People, why do you think it's everywhere? People who have power will want to oppress you if you are oppressible. They say they are contesting. They will contest now because, okay, so who will tell them not to? But if you do what they... I don't want to be talking about this. Not on air.
Maybe final call.
Yes, wrap up with this. Hello, good morning. All right.
We are not ready. We are ready. We will take this country free from them. We are not ready. Let us continue to live in our comfort zone. When everything breaks up, we talk about it from what is bigger than politicians. We are not ready.
All right, thank you so much. I think it's just the best place for us to leave it. It's been said, so many things have been said. Even those of us, who come on the program every week, we learn. We've looked at mobilization and advocacy for restructuring. We've been advised to see ourselves as the agent that is needed. Do not wait for anyone. I am Anuluapo Moride, wishing you a very good morning once again.
Thank you so much, Anu. And just like you said, a very good point to wrap up the program this morning, on which we talked about mobilization and advocacy for restructuring. This country will get better in your time and in my time. We shall not leave the stage now, God willing, for the jackals, the hyenas, and whatever to run this country aground. We should start putting in place mechanisms for retiring the likes of Adebanjo that Boni the Bishop Ladibo, so that they can lead the friendship and every other person can come on board. You should come on board, I should come on board in this journey of restructuring Nigeria. We want to appreciate the program. Mr. Lauderdale Bobuloko, thank you for coming on the program. And to our producers, the production crew, Dr. Lalude, Tujade Efa, Oseni Sulaiman, Shegun Lewo Kere, Victor, Wali Fatungu, Shala Fajo, and the ladies in the house. We appreciate you for this good job on the first episode of Insight in 2025. We'll see you next week, God willing, and we shall be back to still take the discourse further on the restructuring of this country. Never mind, Nigeria shall be good in no time, Nigeria shall be good in no time. See you next week, God willing.
But I think
which way to go? I love my fatherland. Oh yeah. I want to know which way Nigeria is headed to. Many years after independence, we still find it hard to start. How long shall we be patient before we reach the promised land? Let's save Nigeria, so Nigeria won't die. Which way Nigeria? Which way Nigeria? Tell me.